Hello everyone and welcome to English Vibes. I'm Shushant and we are going to take our next step in our journey. And before we proceed, in case you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe and like the video. In the last video, we have discussed in detail a beautiful poem by Thomas Hardy, The Darkling Thrush. And in this week, we are going to take a step further and we are going to explore the lands of prose. And we'll take up the first story which is in our syllabus, the ISC board syllabus for class 11th and 12th, and that is Salvatore. But before moving into the story itself, let us explore the magic man, that is the writer of the story, the author, William Somerset Maugham. William Somerset Maugham. When this name pops in my head, I have so many memories, so much of reverence for this great author, this writer. From the very childhood, of course, I was fortunate enough to read some of his short stories, and it captivated me on great many levels. So let us proceed and know a little bit about Somerset Maugham, whom may be considered one of the finest short story writer, playwright, novelist of the modern times. Somerset Maugham was born in Paris, in France, in the year 1874, and he was son of a diplomat who was in the British embassy in Paris, or Paris as they call it in France, and he was actually born in the embassy, Somerset Maugham. So in that way he remained a British citizen, though he was born in a foreign land. He was unfortunate in the sense that he became orphan by the age he was 10. So his initial childhood was, you may say, marred with misfortune, and he didn't get that affection or the guidance of his parents. So later in his life, he mentioned this thing that since he was an orphan at a very early age, he had to travel, explore a lot of things on his own. When he turned 23 in the year 1897, his first novel was published, Lisa of Lambeth. By profession, Somerset Maugham started as a doctor. He also served in the First World War as a spy. And though his writing career already started, he slowly drifted full-time to a writer. He was a very liberal person, and his religious view was mostly agnostic. He didn't share the view which was common then, that we have a benevolent God who takes care of everybody. He was pretty much borderline atheist. Many of his short stories became extremely popular, like The Rain, The Lotus Eater, very famous, The Ant and the Grasshopper, Mr. Know-All. They are very popular short stories, and he had this very captivating style. He used to engage the reader from the very word go. So he had this magnificent talent, and he lived a very full life, and his writing career just not was restricted to short stories or novels. He was a playwright. He started writing plays when he was young, but it was noticed when he was in his 30s, 34 to be precise, when his first play was accepted to be staged. Some of his novels were like The Moon and the Sixpence, Of Human Bondage, Cakes and Ale, The Razor's Edge. They also created a great affection among the readers for the love of literature. Somerset Maugham had tremendous respect for his contemporary and past writers. He greatly admired the American writer Ernest Hemingway, and he was also very affectionate towards him. He considered him as a good friend, though Hemingway was younger to him. He also admired the work of Rudyard Kipling, though their political views were at loggerheads all the time. Rudyard Kipling were more into the belief the imperialistic drive was just, and Somerset Maugham opposed that thing, but he admired Kipling's work. Somerset Maugham, his famous play, The Circle, he himself considered it as his finest work when it comes to the genre of play. He became an orphan at a very early age, so he had to explore places and things on his own, and he was pretty well received as an author, so he was very fortunate from the wealth point of view as well. So he traveled a lot, and he was a well-traveled writer. He developed a great holistic worldview. You'll be fascinated to know that in modern culture, many of his stories were adapted into films. So it pretty much shows how much he is relevant today. And obviously, there is certain limitation to what degree we can discuss the author. There is great many literature available on Google where you can explore even in greater depths about Maugham. My only purpose is about talking about Maugham is to point you in a direction. I like to leave you with a quote of Somerset Maugham himself when he was interviewed by Alan Price Jones in 1965. It is the same year that in December Somerset Maugham passed away in Nice, France. But before he died, Price Jones conducted this interview, and in that interview, Jones asked Maugham, "What is your advice for an upcoming or a young person who is interested in writing?" I'll quote what Somerset Maugham said. He said, "Throw yourself in the hurly-burly of life. Don't be afraid to make mistakes." I think so. This is a beautiful message. This is a beautiful advice for just not for writers, for anybody, students, professional, anybody. You have to let yourself be in that struggle and don't be afraid to make mistakes. So with that note, I'll leave you, but in the second part, we'll discuss a beautiful story written by Somerset Maugham, which will explore the simplicity of life, the beauty in simplicity, and the captivating power of Somerset Maugham.